Last month, I paid $1,018 for something I didn't even know I was buying. The month before that, another $987. And the month before that? You guessed it, over $1,000 again. No, this isn't my rent. It's not my car payment. It's not even something I can see or touch. Meanwhile, my friend Magnus in Oslo paid exactly $0 for the same thing. Actually, scratch that. He got paid to use it. I'm talking about hidden taxes. Not the ones on your paycheck stub. Not sales tax. I'm talking about the invisible wealth extraction system that most Americans don't even realize exists because we've been conditioned to think this is just how life works. Here's what's wild. I started tracking every single hidden cost the average American pays that Norwegians simply don't. Healthcare premiums, childcare, student loans, retirement contributions, HOA fees, things we don't even think of as taxes because they're not collected by the IRS. But here's the thing. If it's mandatory, unavoidable, and takes money out of your pocket just to survive, that's a tax. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you the final calculation that made me literally stop and stare at my spreadsheet for 10 minutes straight. Because when you add up all 10 of these hidden taxes, the number is so insane, it fundamentally changed how I see the entire American economic system. Let's break down exactly where your money is really going. Hidden tax number 1. Health insurance premiums. Let's start with the obvious one that somehow still shocks people when you say it out loud. Health insurance premiums are a tax. The average American family pays $2,249 per month for employer-sponsored health insurance in 2025. And yes, I know your employer covers most of that, but let's be real, that's part of your compensation package that could be going into your salary instead. Even if you just count the employee contribution, that's $571 per month coming directly out of your paycheck. That's $6,850 per year just for the privilege of having insurance, not actually using it, just having the card in your wallet. In Norway, health insurance premiums for basic coverage, $0. They pay 7.7% in Social Security contributions that fund their national insurance scheme, which covers health care, pensions, disability, and unemployment. But that's rolled into their overall tax structure, and it covers everything. Doctor visits, hospital stays, prescriptions, mental health, dental for kids under 18. No networks. No prior authorizations. No fighting with insurance companies about whether your surgery is medically necessary. Here's the kicker. Norwegians also have significantly better health outcomes than Americans. Life expectancy is 83.6 years compared to our 79.4. Infant mortality is 1.9 per 1,000 births versus our 5.4. Maternal mortality? Norway's at 1.7 per 100,000 while America's sitting at 23 per 100,000. So we're paying more for worse results, and we call that freedom. But here's the catch. It gets so much worse when you factor in what happens when you actually use your insurance. Hidden tax number 2, deductibles, supes, and out-of-pocket maximums. Remember that $571 a month you're already paying? That's just the cover charge to get into the club. Now you have to pay for every drink once you're inside. The average American with employer-sponsored insurance has a deductible of $1,886 for single coverage in 2025. That means after paying $6,850 in premiums, you still have to spend another $1,886 before your insurance even starts helping. Then come the co-pays. $30 for primary care, $65 for specialists, $100 plus for urgent care, $15 to $50 per prescription depending on the tier. The average American family hits $5,200 in out-of-pocket costs per year even with insurance. Add that to premiums, and you're at nearly $12,200 annually just to exist as a human being who occasionally gets sick. In Norway, out-of-pocket maximum per year, around $300, 3,278 Norwegian kroner. Once you hit that, everything, and I mean everything, is free for the rest of the year. Doctor visits, specialists, hospital stays, prescriptions, physical therapy, everything. Let me translate that into human terms. The average American spends the equivalent of 152 Chipotle burrito bowls with guac on out-of-pocket healthcare costs alone. Norwegians spend the equivalent of 37 burrito bowls, and then they're done for the entire year. That's an $11,900 per year difference. But it gets even crazier when you look at what happens when Americans try to plan for retirement. Okay, real talk for a second. I'm on a mission to see if the American dream actually moved to Norway. Every week, I run the numbers, interview real people, and break down exactly what life costs in both countries. No BS, no ideology, just math and first-hand experience. If you want to see the math on that every week, hit subscribe and join the Nexer community. Because what I'm about to show you next is something most financial advisors will never tell you. Hidden tax number 3, retirement contributions, 401k/R. Here's a question nobody asks. Why are Americans personally responsible for funding their own retirement while also paying into Social Security? The average American is told to contribute 10 to 15% of their income to a 401k or IRA if they want any chance of retiring comfortably. For someone making the median wage of $62,000 a year, that's $9,300 annually vanishing into retirement accounts. Yes, there are employer matches and tax benefits. But the fundamental reality is this. You are prepaying for your future survival because the government system, Social Security, isn't designed to be enough. In Norway, the pension system is robust and built into the social safety net through their national insurance scheme. They contribute as part of their overall tax structure, but they're not separately hemorrhaging 10 to 15% of take-home pay into private accounts managed by Wall Street. The average Norwegian can expect a pension that replaces about 50 to 60% of their working income. The average American relying on Social Security alone gets about 40%, which is why we're told to panic and dump money into 401ks. This is a $9,300 per year hidden tax that we've been conditioned to call financial responsibility. But here's the catch. What about Americans who want to actually, have children? Hidden tax number 4, childcare costs. If you're an American parent with a child under 5, congratulations. You're about to pay what feels like a second mortgage. The average cost of childcare in the United States is $1,372 per month, or $16,464 per year. In cities like New York, Boston, or San Francisco, try $2,000 to $3,000 plus per month. That's $24,000 to $36,000 a year per child. For context, that's more than the average annual cost of in-state college tuition. You're paying university-level prices for someone to watch your toddler eat crayons. In Norway, childcare is heavily subsidized. The maximum cost is capped at approximately $185 per month, 2,000 Norwegian kroner, and low-income families pay even less, sometimes as little as $28 per month. And the quality? Norway consistently ranks among the best early childhood education systems in the world. Let's do the math. American parents pay an average of $16,464 per year. Norwegian parents pay $2,220. That's a $14,244 annual difference, the equivalent of a decent used car every single year, just to go to work. And here's what makes it even more insane. In Norway, parents also get 49 weeks of paid parental leave at 100% salary or 59 weeks at 80%. In America, we get 0 federally mandated paid leave. So we're paying more for childcare and losing income to stay home with newborns. This isn't a tax on having kids. It's a penalty. I want to hear from you in the comments. Is this socialism or just common sense? I'm reading every reply. Because what I'm about to show you next is where most Americans start getting defensive, and I need to know if you think I'm crazy or if this is finally clicking. Hidden tax number 5, student loan payments. Let's talk about the $1.7 trillion elephant in the room, student loan debt. The average American with student loans pays $536 per month, or $6,432 per year. Some pay way more. I've interviewed people paying $1,200 plus monthly on grad school loans. This is money that doesn't build equity, doesn't grow investments, doesn't buy a house. It's just servicing debt for education that, in most other developed countries, costs a fraction of what we pay. In Norway, university tuition at public institutions is free, even for international students. There's a small semester fee of around $60, but that covers student services, not instruction. Norwegian students can take out loans for living expenses, and the average graduate has about $39,500 in debt. But here's the insane part. Up to 40% of that loan is converted to a grant and forgiven if you graduate on time. And the interest rate? Around 2 to 3%, not the 5 to 7% Americans pay. So Norwegians graduate with similar debt levels, but with better forgiveness terms and lower interest. Americans graduate with an average of $35,639 in debt. For bachelors alone, among the 61% who borrow, add another $50,000 plus for grad school, and spend a decade or more paying it off with zero forgiveness for most. That $6,432 per year is another hidden tax on trying to improve your economic standing. And it gets even crazier when you realize what Americans pay just to drive to work. Hidden tax number 6, car ownership, insurance, maintenance, gas. Here's something Norwegians find baffling about America. Our cities are designed so you must own a car to survive. The average American spends $2,316 per year on car insurance, full coverage. $1,800 per year on gas, 12,000 miles at 25 miles per gallon, $3.20 per gallon average. $1,234 per year on maintenance and repairs. That's $5,350 per year just to operate one vehicle, and that's before car payments. In Norway, cities are built around public transit. Oslo has an integrated metro, tram, bus, and ferry system. A monthly unlimited transit pass costs about $74, 800 Norwegian kroner, or $888 per year. Yes, Norway has high car costs too, but the difference is you don't need one. Most Norwegians in urban areas don't own cars. They bike, walk, or take the train. In America, not owning a car in most cities means you literally cannot get to work, buy groceries, or access healthcare. That $5,350 per year is a hidden tax on living in a car-dependent society. But here's the catch. What about all those small fees we don't even think about? If that stat just blew your mind, hit the like button so the algorithm shows this to more people who need to see the truth. Because the next 4 hidden taxes are the ones most Americans have never even considered. Hidden tax number 7. Private trash, water and utilities markup. Word count, 1650 to 1800. In Norway, utilities like water and trash are public services with costs kept low through economies of scale and non-profit models. In America, many of these services are privatized or run through for-profit contractors. The average American pays $33 per month for trash pickup, not always included in rent. $43 per month for water and sewer. Electricity rates that average 16.9 cents per kilowatt hour, comparable to Norway's fluctuating rates but with less grid efficiency. The average utility markup, compared to Norway's public model? About $550 per year. It's not dramatic, but it's constant. Every month, a little more gets siphoned off because we've privatized basic services. Hidden tax number 8. HOA fees and property tax disparity. If you own property in America, especially a condo or townhouse, you're likely paying HOA fees. The average HOA fee in the US is $200 to $300 per month, or $2,400 to $3,600 per year. In Norway, housing cooperatives exist, but the fees are generally lower and provide more transparent value, often including utilities and maintenance. Then there's property tax. The average American pays 0.99% of home value annually in property taxes. On a $400,000 home, that's $3,960 per year. Norway has a property tax, but most municipalities charge around 0.5% on average, significantly less than the US rate. Combined, Americans pay an extra $2,000 per year compared to Norwegians in housing-related fees. Hidden tax number 9. Emergency savings as self-insurance. Here's one nobody talks about, the emergency fund. Americans are told to keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in cash as an emergency fund. For the median household spending around $5,000 per month, that's $15,000 to $30,000 sitting in savings. Let's use $20,000 as the average. Because if you lose your job, you lose your health insurance. If your car breaks down, you have no public transit backup. If your kid gets sick, you're on the hook for thousands in medical bills. That emergency fund is dead money. It sits in a savings account earning 0.39% interest, the national average, while inflation eats it alive. In Norway, the social safety net is your emergency fund. Lose your job? Unemployment benefits cover 62.4% of your previous salary for up to 2 years. Get sick? Universal healthcare. Car breaks? You don't need one. The opportunity cost of keeping $20,000 in cash instead of investing it at a 7% average annual return, after inflation? About $1,330 per year in lost growth. That's a hidden tax on living in a high-risk society. The final hidden tax is one parents know all too well, saving for your kids' college. Financial advisors tell American parents to contribute $200 to $400 per month to a 529 plan if they want to cover 4 years of public in-state college tuition. That's $2,400 to $4,800 per year, starting from birth. Let's use $4,000 per year as the average. In Norway, parents don't need college savings accounts because university is free. That's $72,000 over 18 years, not counting growth, that Norwegian parents simply don't have to set aside. That's not financial planning. That's a hidden tax on being born in America. Most people in the US have no idea this is even possible. Send this video to one friend who still thinks Norwegians pay 60% taxes and get nothing in return. Because we're about to close the loop. Remember at the beginning when I said I'd show you the final number? Here it is. Total annual hidden taxes Americans pay that Norwegians don't. 1. Health insurance premiums, $6,850. 2. Out-of-pocket medical costs, $5,200. 3. Retirement contributions, 401k, $9,300. 4. Childcare, $16,464. 5. Student loans, $6,432. 6. Car ownership, insurance, gas, maintenance $5,350. 7. Utility markups, $550. 8. HOA/property tax disparity, $2,000. 9. Emergency fund opportunity cost, $1,330. 10. College savings, $529,000. Total, $57,476 per year. Let me say that again. The average American family pays $57,476 annually in hidden taxes that Norwegians simply do not pay. For context, the median household income in the US is $83,730. That means 69% of the median income is going to these hidden costs. Now, yes, Norwegians pay higher income taxes, about 10 to 15 percentage points more depending on income level. On an $83,730 salary, that's roughly $8,000 to $12,500 more in taxes. But they get $57,476 worth of services in return. We pay $57,476 and get almost nothing. That's the system. That's the rigged game. I spent 10 minutes staring at this spreadsheet because it made me realize, we're not living in the land of the free. We're living in the land of the fee. The American dream didn't die. It moved to Norway and took universal healthcare, free college, paid parental leave, and affordable childcare with it. If this video changed how you see the system, the algorithm needs to know. Like, subscribe, and go watch my video on what Americans don't understand about Norwegian taxes, because the rabbit hole goes even deeper. I'm Nexer, and I'll see you in the next one.